fairy, also known as the Seven Fairies' Bath. However, later on, 7 spider demons came here. Since the demons arrived, they occupied Zhuogu Spring. At the same time, the 7 fairies didn't compete with these 7 spider demons and directly gave up the pool. We later know that when Wukong fought in the Panxi Cave and Huanghua Temple, these 7 spider demons were mediocre in skill, yet the 7 fairies just gave up the pool for no reason. Not only that, the description of these 7 spider demons indicates they resemble Chang'e descending to the mortal world, a fairy falling into mortal dust. What a fairy falling into mortal dust. Not only that, when Wukong fought the 7 adopted sons of the 7 spider demons, they even directly said they were the sons of the 7 fairies, and their adoptive mother, the spider demon, was the 7 fairies. Not only that, in the story of the bird in the original story of Wukong stealing clothes, the bird, also known as the Girl of Heaven and Earth, liked to adopt other people's sons as her own. Because her clothes were stolen by a man, she couldn't fly away and had to become the wife of the man who stole her clothes. So my view is that the 7 spider demons were actually the 7 fairies of the heavenly palace who were banished to the mortal world. Meanwhile, the 7 fairies in Journey to the West were not said to be the Queen Mother's daughters. I need to mention this. So, at this point in the story, some viewers might start to wonder, how could the 7 fairies end up in the Panxi Cave as demons? To explain this, we must mention the incident that triggered Wukong's havoc in the Heavenly Palace, disrupting the Queen Mother's peach banquet. Wukong was recruited by the Heavenly Palace again and titled the Great Sage Equal to Heaven. He was also assigned to manage the peach garden. One day, the Queen Mother sent the 7 fairies to pick peaches. When they met Wukong, the 7 fairies told him that the Queen Mother didn't invite him. Wukong cast a spell to immobilize the 7 fairies and stole and ate the celestial peaches, wine, and elixirs of Taishang Laojun from the peach banquet. The 7 fairies were immobilized for a week before they could escape and report the situation to the Queen Mother. This incident set the stage for Wukong's havoc in the Heavenly Palace. That year's peach banquet changed the lives of many gods in the Heavenly Palace, with Baji being the first to bear the brunt. In chapter 19 of Journey to the West, when Wukong fought Baji, Baji said, "You know the trouble that the horse manager caused back then. I do not know how many times I was implicated. Now you come to bully me again? Do not be rude, take my rake." He was referring to the trouble Wukong caused at the peach banquet, which made the Jade Emperor and the Queen Mother lose face. It's said that when the boss is in a good mood, you can get away with a little mistake. But when the boss is in a bad mood, and you dare to get drunk and flirt with Chang'e at the peach banquet, there's absolutely no way out of that situation. They took the opportunity to make an example of Marshal Tianpeng, who was then heavily punished and banished to the mortal world as Zhu Gangli. Secondly, Shamang was also a victim of this peach banquet. Shamang accidentally broke a glass lamp at the peach banquet. Thanks to the Barefoot Immortal's intercession, he was spared the death penalty but faced severe punishment. He was beaten 800 times and banished to the Flowing Sand River, where flying swords pierced him 100 times every 7 days. From the experiences of these two at the peach banquet, we can see the strictness of the Heavenly Palace's laws. So what mistake did the 7 fairies make? First, they didn't complete their task. In the original text, it is evident that the Queen Mother dispatched the 7 fairies on a mission to pick peaches. The Queen Mother specifically sent these 7 fairies to gather the peaches, highlighting their importance in the task. No matter what Wukong did, the Queen Mother's first question to the 7 fairies was, "How many peaches did you pick?" They replied they picked 2 baskets of small peaches and 3 baskets of medium peaches, with no large peaches. Here, the Queen Mother didn't address Wukong's issue first, but focused on the number of peaches picked. No matter how much trouble Wukong caused, it was still an internal matter of the Heavenly Palace. But if there weren't enough peaches, the peach banquet would be meaningless. According to Journey to the West, almost all gods and Buddhas were invited to the peach banquet. If there weren't enough peaches, the peach banquet would be a failure. Moreover, the laws of the Heavenly Palace were so strict that the 7 fairies, responsible for picking the peaches, naturally had to bear the related responsibility, or take the blame. Secondly, the inaction of the other immortals in the peach garden aggravated the 7 fairies' guilt. In the entire peach garden, besides the great sage, there were the earth immortal and other gods. The original text mentions the earth immortal and other gods twice. At the scene, besides Wukong and the 7 fairies, there were also these other gods present. However, Wukong immobilized the 7 fairies but not the other gods in the peach garden. Yet, the other gods didn't report the incident. They were smart enough to avoid getting involved in the situation because they knew that whoever reported it would end up in trouble. This was because their direct leader, Wukong, had explicitly ordered them to wait outside the gate, as clearly stated in chapter 5. By following Wukong's instructions, they managed to steer clear of any potential issues. So the one who made the mistake was Sun Wukong himself. And these officials, their responsibility was just to guard the gate of the Peach Garden and do some chores. As long as they did their job of guarding and doing chores well, whatever happened inside was Wukong's responsibility, not within the scope of these minor immortals' duties. So if the Peach Garden officials had directly reported to the Jade Emperor and the Queen Mother, then perhaps the subsequent events of Wukong stealing the Jade Dew and the 9-turn golden elixir could have been avoided. However, it wasn't until the 7 fairies lifted the immobilization spell that the Queen Mother learned the true facts. By then, the disaster had already happened, and it was too late to reverse it. The incident escalated from a peach shortage to insufficient peaches, stolen celestial wine, taken golden elixirs, and a completely disrupted banquet. Therefore, the inaction of the Peach Garden officials indirectly increased the responsibility of the 7 fairies, leading to their later story of being banished to the mortal world as demons. This process is actually similar to Bai Hua Shu's. So at the beginning they forgot their past life memories. So, although the 7 fairies were a faction of the Heavenly Palace, they were not sent down. In the original work, those immortals, sent to the mortal world as demons by the Heavenly Palace, eventually returned safely. However, those who were banished due to crimes, like Bai Hua Shu, could not return to the Heavenly Palace. Bai Hua Shu is a very good example. The issue with Kui Mulang and Bai Hua Shu is that, according to Kui Mulang, Bai Hua Shu in the Heavenly Palace wanted to have an affair with him, meaning she seduced him. And I, Kui Mulang, in order to avoid polluting the sacred laws of the Heavenly Palace, chose to descend to the mortal world and take on the form of a demon. So Kui Mulang's words were very clever. He gave face to the Jade Emperor and removed his own responsibility, a real old scoundrel, right? So the Jade Emperor only punished him by making him stoke the fire for the Supreme Lord Laozi. And very soon, by chapters 65 and 92, we see that Kui Mulang was reinstated, but Bai Hua Shu remained in the mortal world forever. This is also why, although these 7 spider spirits were once the 7 fairies, no immortals came to their rescue when they died. As for the true backer of the 100-eyed Demon Lord, I will talk about that later. Up to this point, we can finally clarify the identity of the old spider, which is to say he is one of the original spider spirits, once one of the 7 fairies. Now we can confidently start to briefly explain the plot demonstration of PV3. First, this is a video that mixes first-person and third-person perspectives. At the beginning, a row of headless Buddha statues appears, modeled after the Thousand Buddha village in the Anyue Grottos in Sichuan. The entire Anyue Grottos have 368 sites with over 100,000 statues, but this particular site was chosen as the model, once again emphasizing the theme of the Buddhist sect's transformation and the extinction of many Buddhas that appeared in PV2 and PV1. Then a female demon appears whom we later know as the second sister, holding a spell gesture. At this time, the first-person perspective follows, with the sound of chains dragging on the ground, indicating that the first-person protagonist is in a state of bondage. After walking a bit, there are 2 lantern monsters at the door, shouting, "Great joy," telling us that a happy event is about to happen here. These 2 lantern monsters might be modeled after Tang Sankai ghost hand pottery figurines. Then the second sister angrily says to the mother's groom, "You stupid thing, hurry up." Then the scene flashes, and the words Ruo Xian An appear, telling us that this place is the Spider Cave from chapter 72 of the original Journey to the West. Then the third sister and the fourth sister make their appearance, playfully teasing each other. The fourth sister, with a look of disappointment, says, "I thought mother was longing day and night for a handsome groom, but how could he be so stupid and ugly?" The third sister agrees. "His face is a bit rough, but as long as mother likes him, I suppose it doesn't matter." This is a very important conversation. From the actions of the female demons, we can observe that the first-person protagonist, who is being observed, appears to be very short in stature and looks quite stupid and rough. This raises an important question. Who exactly is the protagonist of the video in question? Some say it's Baji because of the literal interpretation, right? The Ji in the song's title refers to Baji. Also, the lyrics might hint at Baji's relationship with Chang'e. However, this theory encounters 2 significant problems. First and foremost, the notion that the old spider is actually Chang'e has been thoroughly debunked by me earlier. If you agree with my perspective on that matter, you must also concur with my viewpoint here, right? So this theory doesn't apply. Second, Baji's original form is very large. Although it's not explicitly stated, in chapter 73, the centipede spirit first attacks Baji, who has the largest body. and the second largest, Sha monk, is about 3.8 meters tall if we use Ming Dynasty measurements.